Okay. This is so what is this? Like when we look at this, so this is the case. This would be the federal court case, the United States of America v. Elmer Stewart Rhodes III et al. So the superseding indictment that we read was the indictment used to arrest all the people involved in this case and then to bring the case to court. And now we have this publishing of this thing. Is this like, do district court judges write up, or does a court reporter write up like what happened? Or Jesus, got all this bullshit. Got all this bullshit. Okay, defendants in this case, 9 in total. Defendants stand accused of some bullshit. All of them are accused of some bullshit. Oh. 4 defendants, Hackett, Meggs, Harrelson, and Minuta, have moved to dismiss their respective tampering counts or, in the alternative, to sever them from the remaining charges. Last, all defendants seek to transfer the case from this Eastern District to the Alexandria Division of the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Virginia.
Tell what this is?
So if you want, link me a part in it. I don't want to just know what it is. I want to be able to find where it says what it is. It feels like for these, you just have to read through the intro and then it'll tell you.
Yeah, it'll tell you. It's a motion to dismiss. So
wait. Tell me after. I'll read it, and then if you think I got something wrong, yeah, okay. What? I'm gonna read it anyway, right? Okay. All defendants seek to transfer the case from the district court to the Alexandria Division of the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Virginia. From this district, okay. So they are trying to dismiss some charges or sever them from other charges. I'm guessing that means having it tried in like different cases or 2 different things. And then it looks like they're trying to transfer the case. They're asking for a different venue from the district court, I'm guessing in D.C. Yes, the United States District Court of D.C. And they're trying to get it transferred to a different federal court, U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Virginia. Don't know why, but okay. Okay, on or about, blah, blah, blah. Grand jury returned a superseding indictment that, among other things, renumbered the tampering counts to reflect the 2 defendants that entered guilty pleas. In addition, these guys are charged with destruction of government property. Okay, for the reason that follows, the court holds that the indictment sufficiently states the offenses of seditious conspiracy, obstruction, and conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, and conspiracy to prevent an officer from discharging official duties. It also specially states offenses of tampering with documents or proceedings. Additionally, defendants have not shown that a change in venue is warranted. Accordingly, the defendants' motions are denied. Okay. Why? Okay, now Pisco. Wait. So why was I linked this? Or what do you think is the value in reading this motion to dismiss refusal? Got indictments. U.S. v. Rhodes. Defendants' challenges to the seditious conspiracy charge fall into 2 general categories. First, defendants argue that count 1 fails to state an offense. Second, they contend that count 1 fails to sufficiently apprise them of the factual basis for the charge. Applying the relevant legal standards, the court finds neither argument persuasive. Okay, so the defendant argues that count 1 fails to state an offense. Does this mean that, okay, let's look at the indictment. Okay, so typically you'll list a count. A count is a particular statute, I believe, that's being violated. So count 2 is referencing 18 USC section 1512, subsection K, and then with the name of the statute, conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding. So you have you're referring to a specific law. In this case, it'll be a federal law. And then you're stating some facts that you're saying would constitute a violation of this law. If it says that you are failing to state an offense, I'm guessing what that means is whatever actions you're stating wouldn't fall under, even if they were true, wouldn't fall under the federal statute that's listed. Let's see. Okay, motions that must be made before trial. So there's a pretrial motion. These all motions to dismiss. Following defenses, objections, or requests must be raised by pretrial motion if the basis for the motion is then reasonably available and the motion can be determined without a trial on the merits. So failure to state an offense. Among the defenses and objections in this group are the following: illegal selection or organization of the grand jury, disqualification, failure to stand up, provisions. Okay. Rule 12b(3)(b) has been amended to remove language that allows the court at any time while the case is pending to hear the claim that the indictment or information fails to state offense. The specific charging error was previously considered fatal whenever raised and was excluded from the general requirement that charging deficiencies be raised prior to trial. Why is Loner Box debating bubbles?
Even knowing which demographic area.
Well, I don't even know what bubbles is. Okay. Okay, chapter 20. Cringe. Like any defense that is capable of determination before trial, a motion to dismiss a complaint or indictment must normally be filed before trial. Makes sense? Because a charge that fails to state an offense must be dismissed whenever the defect is noticed, even on appeal. Counsel might be tempted to delay the motion until after the start of trial. From the Trailer Park Boys. Oh, good one. Okay, what is this? Although jeopardy does not attach in proceedings later voided because of a defective charge, and so waiting until after the trial begins will not protect the defendant from reprosecution, counsel would get discovery of the Commonwealth's case and perhaps discourage reprosecution, however, intentionally to delay raising such defects. Okay. Failure to state an offense. General principles. Implementing Article 12 of the Massachusetts. I guess this is probably particular to Massachusetts, but I imagine that most of these are going to be the same from state to state. Requires the charge to contain a plain, concise description of the act which constitutes the crime or an appropriate legal term descriptive thereof. A motion to dismiss will lie if the charging document is insufficient on its face. This can occur in three circumstances. One, the charge fully and clearly specifies the acts defendant is alleged to have done, but these acts constitute no crime. The charging document is wholly conclusory, lacking specific factual allegations. An indictment must do more than simply repeat the language of the criminal statute. So you'd have to say the person did something, not just repeat the law. And an element of the crime is missing from the charging document. So remember, for a crime, element is a required part. So every element has to be necessary in order, or has to be met for a crime to have been committed. If you meet 4 out of 5, there's no crime. The question then is whether or not the element is essential, and if so, oh, never mind. I've never heard this in my life. I thought element definitionally means essential. The question then is whether or not the element is essential, and if so, whether the omission is fatal. This varies from crime to crime, but in Massachusetts generally, matters discoverable by bill of particulars, the date, place, manner, and means of an alleged offense are not essential. Oh, I see. It's just saying that in the charging document, if you say, oh, he knowingly conspired with another friend to murder this person, but they don't have like the date of the conspiring or whatever, the question is, okay, well, is that an element of the crime? Do you have to have the date listed on the thing? Well, if that's not like an essential part of what you need for the crime, then it doesn't matter if that's listed on the charging document or not, basically, I think. Okay, that makes sense, I guess. At one time, in order to withstand a motion to dismiss, the Commonwealth had to set forth charging document every essential element of the crime, including mens rea elements. However, the Supreme SJC, Supreme Justice Court, Supreme, suck my dick, I don't know what this is, now holds that it is It is not necessary for the Commonwealth to set forth in the complaint. It's not necessary for the Commonwealth to set forth in the complaint or indictment every element of the crime to withstand a motion to dismiss. Even if an essential element is missing, a complaint will not be dismissed if the offense is charged with sufficient clarity to show a violation of law and to permit the defendant to know the nature of the accusation against him and to plead an acquittal or conviction and bar future prosecution for the same offense. Okay, all right, we got this. Okay, done this. All right. Okay, failure to state an offense. So that means that the first motion to dismiss is based on the idea that even if everything you said is true, we didn't actually break this law. You haven't given like any element to actually, you haven't given enough facts to show that we're in violation of a particular statute. So this would be the court then is going to justify, I'm assuming if the court denied their motion to dismiss, they're going to say, here's why what you did actually does satisfy the charges that you're trying to dismiss. At the start of the Civil War, the national government had limited authority under federal criminal law to detain and punish those who supported the rebellion. The charge of treason, which carried the death penalty, was the primary tool available. The Constitution defined that offense strictly, and judicial opinions imposed rigorous elements of proof. As part of the effort to meet the emergency war posed, Congress enacted statutes to define crimes less than treason. Congressmen believed these measures were necessary since no statute law on the subject existed and the common law was not applicable. Approximately 100 days after the first shots were fired at Fort Sumter on April 12th, 1861, Congress passed an act to define and punish certain conspiracies, which eventually would become the Seditious Conspiracy Statute. One of the bill's sponsors, Senator Lyman Trumbull of Illinois, explained that the object of this bill is not under any other name to punish traitors, but it is to punish persons who conspire together to commit offenses against the United States, not analogous to treason. 10 years later, Congress passed the Enforcement Act of 1871. Okay, now codified in 18 U.S.C. 2384, seditious conspiracy statute reads as follows. If two or more persons in any state or territory or in any place subject to the jurisdiction of the United States conspire to overthrow, put down, or to destroy by force the government of the United States, or to levy war against them, or to oppose by force the authority thereof, or by force to prevent, hinder, or delay the execution of any law of the United States, or by force to seize, take, or possess any property of the United States contrary to the authority thereof, they shall each be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 20 years or both. I wonder why, what does the insurrection statute even read as? Insurrection statute. Whoever incites, when did this become law? Is this just like referencing a book, or is this referencing when it passed, or? Whoever incites, sets on foot, assists, or engages in any rebellion or insurrection against the authority of the United States or the laws thereof, or gives aid or comfort thereof, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 10 years or both, and shall be incapable of holding any office under the United States. If you can charge somebody with seditious conspiracy, and then they participated in said seditious conspiracy, is there a sedition? There's not a sedition statute, is there? Sedition federal statute. How the fuck am I being linked this? Okay, don't care. So we've got rebellion or insurrection, and then we've got seditious conspiracy. Why do we have a federal statute for treason if treason is a crime spelled out in the Constitution? Treason in Constitution. Treason against the United States shall consist only in levying war against them or in adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. No person shall be convicted of treason unless on the testimony of two witnesses to the same overt act or on confession in open court. Whoever owing allegiance to the United States levies war against them and adheres to their enemies, giving them aid or comfort. After he's unless on the 10th. Huh. I wonder why. I guess there's nothing that stops you from Congress passing laws to enforce provisions in the Constitution. So maybe just to make it more clear, I guess. Where I'm so curious about this. Wait, where did Pisco go? Bring him back. I think he's on the Hutch panel. Oh, fuck. Well, never mind. What did... well, I guess Jack Smith wouldn't necessarily be the guy filing these cases or whatever, right? Why, if you could convict somebody on seditious conspiracy, and it seems like seditious conspiracy is the conspiracy to plan for rebellion or insurrection. That seems to be the language used. I wonder why they would charge for seditious conspiracy and not for this. I wonder what the what the rationale was. Let's see. I wonder if we can find on the indictment. Well, we'll keep reading this and then I'll check. I'll Google this. Defendants case are not charged with conspiracy to overthrow the government or to levy war against it, nor are they charged with attempting to seize property of the United States. Rather, defendants stand accused of conspiring by force to prevent, hinder, and delay the execution of any law in the United States. Oh, okay. They're pointing to the specific language in here. Okay. Seditious conspiracy has a more clear spelling out of what I would say probably of what can be charged for. Whereas on the rebellion and insurrection statute, they just say rebellion and insurrection. They don't actually define it in the criminal statute. Whereas seditious conspiracy has more strict definitions. That might be why. The indictment spells out the laws of the United States that they allegedly try to prevent, hinder, and delay the 12th Amendment, the 20th Amendments to the Constitution, and Title III, Section 15 of the United States Code. Okay. Execution of any law fails to state an offense rests on their reading the words. According to them, since laws do not execute themselves, the target of the seditious conspiracy logically must be both the federal law itself and at least one person attempting to execute that law. Such person must be authorized to execute the law. Only the president invests with the authority to execute the laws of the United States. Good one. Government maintains the defendant's hyper-focus on identifying a particular person as the object of the conspiracy is misguided. Contends that 2384 only requires that the conspiracy be directed against the government of the United States as a whole and its execution of its laws, and that is precisely what the indictment charges. Okay. This history is significant for two reasons. First, when Congress enacted the Ku Klux Klan Act in 1871, it understood how to distinguish crimes against the United States from those against a federal official. Within the first 8 clauses of Section 2, Congress prescribed conspiracies to overthrow, put down, and destroy by force the government of the United States, to oppose by force the authority of the United States, to prevent, hinder, or delay by force the execution of any law of the United States, and to seize by force any property of the United States. The clauses that immediately follow in Section 2 prescribed conspiracies aimed at individual federal officials. Those provisions criminalized conspiracies whose purpose was, among other things, to prevent a person by force, intimidation, or threat. Okay. Is there any doubt left about this understanding? The Criminal Code of 1999 resolved it. The Congress separated seditious conspiracy and prevention of duties provisions and placed them under different chapter headings is telling. Okay. Okay, we don't need this. Okay, okay. And okay. All right, we're good on this. Okay, Oath Keepers, we'll do this later. Proud Boys, we'll write this up later. Okay, for the most important things that happened on January 6th, through the timeline, things that we absolutely should have included, that I think are important to walk through with somebody. I've got our gallows construction. I think it's kind of weird. I think Proud Boys and Oath Keepers are both good to make note of. Fuck. Did I delete my colors plugin or no? I don't care. Fuck it. We don't need colors. Okay for Oath Keepers. .629 Stuart Rhodes reminds the Oath Keepers that blades over 3 inches are illegal in the city. It tells them to keep the knives low profile. Actually, I don't think we need this. Of all the things the Oath Keepers did, I don't think this is like that important. I want to try to have the this to be relatively concise. Stuart Rhodes. Okay. National Park Service observes people are hiding bags in trees to bypass inspection. Courtney Holland, who later became communications director for the Republican Senate nominee in Nevada, tweets that she is walking to the Stop the Steal rally with Scott Presler, Megan Barth, and Rose Tennant. Those 3 people are scheduled to speak later at a different rally at the Capitol. White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows texts Representative Jim Jordan, "I've pushed for this, but is not sure it is going to happen," referring to Pence overturning the election results. Ooh. Wow, thanks, Keegan. House is awesome. Aiden Ross blaming Hassan.
Hassan, bro, you really got issues, bro. I swear to God, Hassan, Abby, you have actual issues. All right, you got some real issues. So, chat, I have to just clarify. I have to take that Rolex back. There's a presidential Rolex that I gave President.
I didn't write the law, you fucking idiot!
Hassan, bro, you really got issues, bro. I swear to God, Hassan, Abby, you have actual issues. All right, you got some real issues. So, chat, I have to just clarify.
Okay. I'm sure somebody in Trump's admin told him that you can't accept massive fucking gifts from people. Trump tweets a false allegation of election fraud. Secret Service countersurveillance agents report that members of the crowd are wearing ballistic helmets. Trump tweets allegations of voter fraud and asks Pence to delay the electoral count. That's probably worth putting up. .8:17 a.m. Do I have Trump tweets? Calls, no. No. I don't know if I included his tweets on January 6th. No, I did. Okay. Were the Proud Boys / Oath Keepers the ones who put up the gallows? No, I don't think there's any evidence that it was them. I think those people might be unidentified. This was the gallows thing. It's kind of weird. Kind of spooky. Pisco accused Destiny of lying during the Rob Noir debate. Yeah, I don't know where he gets this from or why he has this feeling. I think maybe because he doesn't read as much as sometimes he pretends when he comes on stream that he's accusing me of not reading this, but I didn't cite anything that was incorrect about this case. I've said over and over and over and over again that the Colorado Supreme Court case did a 3-prong test as opposed to the other one. Destiny lies sometimes too. I think he blatantly lied that he read the Colorado Supreme Court decision. I think this is an immediate, like nothing that I said in that debate about the Supreme Court decision was wrong. Literally nothing was wrong about it. I don't understand I don't know why he gets this impression or where he gets this from. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's just really friendly with Rob. I'm not sure. Okay, where were we? Oh.
Were seen during January 6th during that attack on the Capitol.
Yeah, on Capitol grounds, that's the technical violation.
I don't think these people were ever
It shows a group of people
identified.
early on the day of the riots entering Union Square Park, and they are seen hauling lumber hours before former President Trump directly told his supporters to march to the Capitol. He said he'd meet them during his rally in Washington.
CBS News congressional correspondent Scott McFarland.
Stubborn. Have any information about Capitol? We know from the new video obtained by CBS News, some of the construction of this gallows happened brazenly in the early morning hours of January 6, 2021. The movement of the lumber through iconic streets of Washington, D.C., Independence Avenue, onto the lawn of the Capitol grounds happened in plain sight around the 6 a.m. hour. Then, over the course of the morning, some wood was impaneled on the west front of the Capitol. Then, around the 1 p.m. hour, the crossbar and the noose were affixed, according to the Congressional Review. But according to...
Yeah. Let's see. (8:22 a.m.) Trump tweets a request for Republican Party officials to delay the electoral count. Did I have this tweet included? Oh, I think I do. It's this one. Wait. They seriously just linked to the entire thing? Was this at 8:22 a.m.? Oh, it is. Okay. It is this tweet. (8:22). Okay. 9 a.m. Of the podium at the Ellipse, our banners to Save America March. Makes a speech about this. Let's see. So we'll say 9 a.m. Start time for the Wait. Yes, start time for the March to Save America rally at the Ellipse. Trump asks the switchboard operator to call Pence, who doesn't answer. Ouch. Trump has approximately a 10-minute phone call with Representative Jim Jordan. As of late 2023, Jordan has not said what the call was about. A Federal Protective Service liaison officer informs Capitol Police that more than the permitted 30,000 protesters are expected at the Ellipse. The Freedom Plaza permit was increased from 5K to 30K, and the protest outside the Sylvan Theater is permitted for 15. Trump has a 26-minute phone call with speechwriter Stephen Miller about his planned speech for the Save America rally later that day. Who is the speechwriter? Stephen Miller. Is that pre-written speech anywhere before the adjustments, or? I like how Destiny just didn't address Walls lying about using a gun in war. Literally find another quote and move on. LeMayo, Destiny's a clown. So, one, whether or not somebody says these are weapons we carried in war, if you want, I guess you could say that he's falsely claiming that he served in war personally. That's not how I hear it. But even if I were to grant you that entire thing and say, oh, it sounds like he tried to pull a little stolen valor there, Trump literally draft dodged with bone spurs. Like, even if he was full on saying, yeah, I carried a weapon when I served in active combat, I still would say, I would just say, oh, that's kind of a bad thing. But it wouldn't even be close to any, like, this isn't moving the needle on literally fucking anything. Like, you literally have a draft dodger president. I don't, like, why the fuck would I care? After Trump's conversation with Miller, okay, don't care about this. Let's see. White House Deputy Chief of Staff Tony Ornato informs Trump that authorities have spotted armed individuals at the crowd gathering at the Ellipse. Ornato explained to Trump that some of the supporters have weapons that they don't want confiscated by the Secret Service, and thus they refused to pass through the magnetometers and had not drawn close to the Ellipse, where Trump was scheduled to speak at 11. Jesus. Wow, thank you. Trump Train Legend. What did you say?
You're so lucky.
Oh,
I'm not gonna.
wow.
Right?
Oh, yeah, I am, yeah. It's ancient weapons. Thank you, sir. Weapons. We got Tony when I informs Trump that authorities at the Ellipse where Trump is going to hold like. According to Hutchinson's testimony. Has Tony himself testified? Seems to be a major thread here. Tony Ornato likes to lie. I don't like all the hearsay from Hutchinson's testimony. I'd rather hear it from the people themselves. Let's see. Tony. Testimony. Fuck. Oh, wait, will cooperate. Expected to appear before Jan 6 committee. Oh, interviews him. Was it this? 1 year ago. He hasn't testified. The recent OIG report talks about him delaying for months, then giving lame answers. Oh, that's what they're referring to? Fuck. Okay. I don't like how this is written. I think this is written poorly. I think when something is hearsay, I think that should be explicitly stated. This says, before this time, White House Deputy Chief of Staff Tony Ornato informs Trump that authorities have spotted armed individuals at the crowd gathering at the Ellipse. My assumption when I read this, and then I see a source here, my assumption is that Tony has stated that. And then when I click through to the CNN link, it says White House Deputy Chief of Staff Tony Ornato informs Trump that authorities at the Ellipse, where Trump was going to hold a rally, encountered attendees. Oh, never mind. CNN doesn't put that. That's good. Encountered attendees with weapons, including pistols, rifles, bear sprays, and spears, according to Hutchinson's testimony. Okay, at least CNN includes that. Let's see. Hutchinson testimony. Can I get like a good 2 hour? Oh, fuck. The video is on my last search results. I should just go back and look at that. This. Testimony. No, wait. I mean, Tony.
I think the last time we talked, you mentioned that some of the weapons that people had at the rally included flagpoles, oversized sticks or flagpoles, bear spray. Is there anything else that you recall hearing about that the people who would gather on the Ellipse had?
I recall Tony and I having a conversation with Mark probably around 10 a.m., 10:15 a.m., where I remember Tony mentioning knives, guns in the form of pistols and rifles, bear spray, body armor.
Wait a second. She's saying Tony and her had a conversation with Mark Meadows. Okay. All right.
Spears and flagpoles. Spears were one item, flagpoles were one item, and then Tony had relayed to me something to the effect of, and these effing people are fastening spears onto the ends of flagpoles.
And Ms. Hutchinson, here's a clip of your testimony regarding Mr. Meadows' response to learning that the rally attendees were armed that day.
What was Mark's reaction, Mr. Meadows' reaction to this list of weapons that people had in the crowd?
When Tony and I went in to talk to Mark that morning, Mark was sitting on his couch and on his phone, which was something typical. And I remember Tony just got right into it. I was like, sorry, I just want to let you know, and had informed him, like, this is how many people we have outside the mags right now. These are the weapons that we're known to have. It's possible he listed more weapons off that I just don't recall. And gave him a brief but and concise explanation, but also fairly thorough. And I remember distinctly Mark not looking up from his phone. And I remember Tony finishing his explanation and it taking a few seconds for Mark to say something to the point where I almost said, "Mark, did you hear him?" And then Mark chimed in and was like, "All right, anything else?" Still looking down at his phone. And Tony looked at me and I looked at Tony and Tony said, "No, sir, do you have any questions?" He's like, "What are you hearing?" And I looked at Tony and I was like, "Sir, he just told you about what was happening down at the rallies." And he was like, "Yeah, I know." And then he looked up and said, "Have you talked to the president?" And Tony said, "Yes, sir, he's aware too." And he said, "All right, good."
He asked Tony if Tony had informed the president.
Yes.
And Tony said yes, he had. So, Ms. Hutchinson, is it your understanding that Mr. Ornato told the president about weapons at the rally on the morning of January 6th?
That's what Mr. Ornato relayed to me.
And here's how you characterize Mr. Meadows' general response when people raised concerns about what could happen on January 6th.
So at the time, in the days leading up to the 6th, there were lots of public reports about how things might go bad on the 6th, and even the potential for violence. If I'm hearing you correctly, what stands out to you is that Mr. Meadows did not share those concerns, or at least did not act on those concerns?
Did not act on those concerns would be accurate.
But other people raised them to him? Like in this exchange, you mentioned that Mr. Ornato pulled him aside.
That's correct.
Ms. Hutchinson, we're going to show now an exchange of texts between you and Deputy Chief of Staff Ornato. And these text messages were exchanged while you were at the ellipse. In one text, you write, "But the crowd looks good from this vantage point as long as we get the shot. He was effing furious." And the text messages also stress that President Trump kept mentioning the OTR, an off-the-record movement. We're going to come back and ask you about that in a minute. But could you tell us, first of all, who it is in the text who was furious?
The he in that text that I was referring to was the president.
And why was he furious, Ms. Hutchinson?
He was furious because he wanted the arena that we had on the ellipse to be maxed out at capacity for all attendees.
Okay, I don't care about this. I didn't hear anything about Ornato informing Trump, though. I heard it about Ornato informing Mark Meadows, unless I'm missing some part of that or I misheard. Okay. Oh, wait, that was before? She's saying that everything they reported to Meadows, Hutchinson reported to Trump. Okay, Benjamin Phillips splits from his group to park, not reuniting, but later dying from a stroke at George Washington University. Oh no, I'll be with you guys in a second. And then he just parks somewhere and dies of a stroke. Jesus. Tap number 2. Thank you, I got it. (10:30 a.m.) 200 to 300 Proud Boys start their march down the National Mall towards the U.S. Capitol. I think that might be listed specifically in the indictment here for Tario. Correct. Correct. Okay. Rudy Giuliani begins a speech in which he calls for trial by combat. That's a good quote to have. Do they have the... I mean, I have the speech in here. Yes, give me an ad, C-SPAN. Yes, just fuck my shit up with the advertisements. That's what I want. I think Giuliani was right before Trump, right? Giuliani and Eastman were?
Is now coming.
Say
under the floor, and when you needed more, you pulled them out. Stop. Enough votes. Self-governing. Get ridiculed. I know how they try to take jobs away from you, but you look in the mirror every night and you say to yourself, I'm doing the right thing for the United States of America.
Does he speak before Eastman as well?
And how
Oh, he does, okay.
Donald Trump and Democrats still worse than that. This same algorithm, 15% of the vote counted. 10 to Arizona. Hello? Hello, everyone. We're here just very briefly to make a very important 2 points. Number one, every single thing that has been outlined as the plan for today is perfectly legal. I have Professor Eastman here with me to say a few words about that. He's one of the preeminent constitutional scholars in the United States. It is perfectly appropriate, given the questionable constitutionality of the Election Counting Act of 1887, that the vice president can cast it aside, and he can do what a president called Jefferson did when he was vice president.
So now like 219?
He can decide on the validity to the legislatures, give them. We now have letters that the president. Hello?
21910. Okay. I don't think you can like a timestamp on this video player, can you?